Bless us as we gather today for this meeting. Guide our minds and hearts so that we will work for the good of our community. Teach us to be generous in our outlook, courageous in the face of difficulty, and wise in our decisions. Thy will be done. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to call this Hancock County Commission to order. This 23rd day of June 2016. Please remind you to turn off all cellular devices. Thank you. Item 1, approval of minutes. Approval of County Commission minutes for our May 31st, June 2nd, and June 17th, 2016.
Move to approve.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 3-0. Citizens presentation. Item A, Hancock County Museum Commission providing an update on the museum. Robert, is that you?
That's me. Bob McNeil, representing Hancock County Museum. I'm sort of the third stringer. The president, Linda McNeil, was otherwise detained, and Janet Keller is ailing, so I'm the third stringer. Since our last report, we've done quite a lot of upgrading in the museum, as we have and we reported in the past years. We've hosted many tours. Probably more this last year than we have in any of the previous 6 or 7 years. One of the tours which my wife was particularly interested in was after the first grade kids from New Manchester toured the museum. They proceeded to go back to their school, and a couple of the ladies from the museum took various artifacts out and showed them what kids did in the 19th and 20th century and how they played and how they dressed. One of the things we've done the last year is, in particularly in the museum, is upgraded the military room. This room seems to be a room, it's a room in itself, and it changes from year to year. We've hosted. We were fortunate enough this year to host the original family descendants of the Marshalls, and they're spread all over from New Mexico to New York to Michigan, and they were in the area for a reunion and came to the museum for a tour, and we surely enjoyed that a tour and a tea for them. And around Halloween we had Edgar Allan Poe there again, and you probably didn't know that he's still alive, but he is, and he's still doing very well. Christmas parties, and the latest thing 2 weeks ago, we had our annual car show, which was a blazing success. We had almost so many cars we had room to park them. One of the things we're happy about in our organization, which is hard to find in other organizations, we have about 20 to 40 volunteer hours per week with our board members. We really have a real dedicated board willing to help and pitch in. One of the things that we've purchased this year or had to spend money on, we put a new downspout system on. We're having problems in the lower basement with dampness. So we put a system in where it routes the water out into the middle of the yard, and then what they call pop-ups, comes out and water goes out into the grass rather than dampness in the basement. We've also applied for a grant, and I hope I don't misspell the name, but I think it's the Polizzi Group in Wintersville. They gave us a grant a couple of years ago to replace our furnace, and we've applied for a $50,000 grant from them to repair all the woodwork on the outside of the building. This is something we've put off too long, and hopefully, if we get either the total grant or at least part of it, we'll be able to start on that probably next spring. We want to thank the commission, as always, for their support of the museum. It pays our monthly bills, and our insurance carrier notified us this spring that the insurance went up again. So it's certainly a welcome thing. We're also trying to buy the lot next door to us. I don't mean the house, just the lot. And we're having a hard time working that out with the banker. They don't want to split it up, but we're not interested in putting anything on it. But what we're interested in is that no one comes in here and puts a trailer on it. So hopefully, maybe next year we can negotiate with somebody, maybe the new owners of the house, if we can buy that lot. And last, I want to thank Bob for helping us with a load of gravel this year. We need to re-gravel our driveway about every 2 years. We appreciate that, Bob. And if you have any questions?
No, you did a good job. What year was it built?
It was built in 1887.
1887. Gentlemen, any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Citizens' presentation. Would anyone else like to address the commission today? If you would, step up to the mic and state your name. No one?
All right, I'm gonna do it. Darryl McClellan.
All right, Darryl, get to the microphone and state your name.
I'm Darryl McClellan. I'm the director of the Hancock County Animal Shelter. Just like to give you a few updates. Over this past weekend, we did have a spay and neuter clinic where we got about 40 cats done. We don't have the official number. We did a PetSmart. We was at Kroger's this month, and then next month I don't have the numbers yet, but I will have them for the next meeting when I come to that one. And we'd like to continue having these cat spay and neuter clinics throughout the rest of the year. I'd like to have two of them every month, or one every month, but two, we'd like to get two, but one's probably one or two. That's it. Any questions?
Thank you, sir. Always appreciate the updates.
All right, thank you.
Anyone else like to address the commission today? If not, moving along. Correspondence, item A, Tom Goff, Hancock County Animal Shelter Foundation, requesting an extension of the animal shelter bid deadline.
Move to make it a matter of record.
It's moved to make a matter of record. Discussion? No discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 3-0. New business. County Commission. Approval of county insurance package. Robert?
Mr. Commissioner, I'd like to
Oh,
give you an update.
we have it.
George Fresco, representing Assure America Corporation. In your packet is a proposal that was delivered to Bob a couple weeks ago from the county carrier, Travelers Insurance Group. And just to summarize, from a rate standpoint, the carrier noted that your pricing is essentially it's flat this year. You'll see an increase in premium over last year's total proposal, the gross premium went from about $220,000 a year to $245 and some change. Essentially, that is related to the increased exposure from the 911 center that we just endorsed onto the policy. There was roughly an increase of about 28% in property values. There was a request to have new applications presented this year to travelers, and in that, in law enforcement and as it relates to your overall employee exposure, there was an update given to travelers. I think we hired the last couple of years, essentially for homeland security purposes, an additional 15 officers, and that rate went into the law enforcement premium, and that's basically the difference between the premiums from the expiring policy and the current policy. On top of that, some of the lines of coverage and the pricing went down. Others remained flat. Others, at best, are probably up, like I say, about maybe a couple percentage points, and that's industry related in terms of rate that they're trying to get. So overall, I'm pleased to have that. We've delivered worse news to others, put it that way. But what helps the commission and what's factored in with the travelers' flat rate is the fact that your claims experience has been generally very good here the last 5 years. So that weighs into it as well.
So the bottom line is we're flat. Do you see anything in the future? Anything in the future that might hedge this up any?
This industry is volatile.
Okay.
And
I can't get it in writing.
I've seen, like, as a cleaner, I've seen significant increase with others. Of course, there's claims activity that references that.
Okay.
The windstorm perils that affect other areas of the state, that's had an impact on reinsurance rates. So property insurance premiums generally have been up. And that you can't predict. Litigation as it is, that's another factor that comes into play with public entities. So I wish I had a crystal ball to tell you what would happen, but at least for now, this is better than most, I think, public entities are seeing out there, to be honest with you.
Gentlemen, any questions?
The only suggestion, but we talked initially on this too, one gap that we see that could, we think potentially as a part of your current program is the lack of having data breach liability insurance. It's not new, but it's a growing exposure to a lot of businesses. If you store, retrieve, hold personal information and it's compromised, you are part of the process in terms of exposure, litigation, and on top of that, there's costs associated with federal government mandates to advertise and market to make the necessary corrections. Travelers does have a data breach policy. There's some information that I gave to Bob, and my plan is just to pursue that with him in the next coming months to gather information to secure a quote that the commission can consider down the road. But it's real. It's not for all, but it's as it relates to health care, insurance, and those that are engaged in storing public record. The exposure is real. It's a growing segment in terms of litigation. So we want to make certain that we cover on all bases for the commission, and would recommend that you consider at least looking at at that option.
Could our rates actually go up in the future if we do not comply with that nudge?
Not necessarily. There's no correlation. It's if you don't have the coverage, you're self-insuring, and to that end of it, especially if you're sued, you're paying defense costs. So that you can allow the insurance company to do for you if you have the coverage. It doesn't impact any other parts of your insurance program. It won't, but the need's there just to close a gap of coverage.
Well, thank you for the information. We have received those, and the frugal commissioner was against it as soon as he read it. So maybe we'll take a look at that moving forward.
There's increased awareness in terms of marketing with the insurance industry. They're pushing the ages, and it's dutifully so, to those that have the exposure.
All right. Anything else?
Thanks, George.
Sure.
I move that we approve the policy that's been presented to us by Assure America.
We have a motion, further discussion, questions? If none, call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 3-0.
There'll be some paperwork that just will need to be signed, and I'll get with you on that.
Thank you.
Item 2, approval of the Grant and Tomlinson PSD merger.
Move to approve.
Discussion?
Comment.
Clarification?
For a number of months now, Tomlinson PSD and Grant PSD is working on a merger, and they've worked this out with Public Service Commission. Of course, it still needs to be approved. They went through dealing with their counsel on this issue, and in order for them to move forward, they need the blessing of the County Commission to do so. So at this point, my recommendation is that we do approve for the merger of Tomlinson and Grant PSD, and if you gentlemen desire the same, then we will have to pick a date that the County Commission formally holds a public hearing for any interested or concerned citizens to come forward.
So that would be two different motions.
Yeah, my motion
Oh, it's
before
okay.
us is to
I
approve.
should have read it before we started. Okay. Right. So that is your motion?
My motion
Commissioner?
is to approve the merger between Grant and Tomlinson PSD.
Further discussion?
No, you see this as a definite positive move for the county.
Actually, they've been working together for about a year now. From a maintenance perspective, they share the manpower, they share the tools. They're very close to merging in and just having one office operate them both. They're able to concern. When you have Tomlinson out there who purchases water from Grant and also New Cumberland PSD, when the folks at Tomlinson are also working on the same lines that where they're getting their water from on the Grant side, it's a win-win. It's working out. And guys, maybe over the years, you can remember we used to have a lot of different issues. And no offense, but the Grant PSD was kind of a little bit of an absentee and not as much hands-on because they didn't have a director. With them having personnel in place now, it's worked out where they're able to resolve a lot of issues before the water quality or any incident, whatever it may be, gets out of hand. So now they've worked on it for quite some time, and it's working out to be very, very beneficial to the customers in that area.
Further discussion? Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 3-0. Part B of that, or A of that, approval of public hearing date contingent upon approval of the merger. What's the parameters of that, Commissioner?
We cannot have a public hearing any sooner than 20 days, no later than 40 days. And if you gentlemen have no objection, I'd like to pick a date of July 28th at 1 p.m. for a public hearing to be set for this matter here at the County Commission office. And I can give the details to our folks so the public notice can be given to the press and put on the door at the courthouse.
Yeah. So we have a motion to set the date on July 28th at 1 o'clock here at the courthouse. Discussion?
Move to accept the motion.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 3-0. Item 4, approval of contract with Hancock County Sheltered Workshop.
Move to approve.
These are for the mats, correct?
Yes.
Discussion on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 5, approval of the memorandum agreement with the West Virginia Extension Service and the County Extension Service for FY16.
Move to approve.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 3-0. Item 6, approval of Brian Sweeney to the Hancock County Parks and Recreation Board.
Move to approve.
Further discussion? Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Dog Warden, approval of the May 2016 monthly report.
Move to approve.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Office of Technology and Communication, results of animal shelter bid. Mr. Vitus, can you enlighten us?
On June 10th, June 10th is the bid opening date. No bids were received.
No bids were signed. Bids were received.
No completed signed bids were received.
Therefore, there's nothing to vote on. Item 2, requesting approval to advertise for the position of OEM Deputy Director.
So move with a question.
Yes, sir.
This particular position is, some of the salary of this position, or the majority of the salary of this position is offset through First Energy, is that
Yes, sir.
correct?
The deputy director and the director are both offset by percent.
First Energy. So the cost of the county is at a minimum.
Right.
to us.
And the position has been open since we promoted her in
Right.
late January.
Okay. No further questions.
Is it moved?
I do.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 3-0. Approved. 3, requesting approval to hire Rebecca Nolder as part-time dispatcher to the 911 Center effective July 1 of 16.
Move to approve.
Comments, questions, discussion?
Was this to fill absenteeism, or is this?
Vacations, absentee. Normally we have up to 6 part-time dispatchers.
Oh, okay, this is the same as what we, all right.
Currently,
Any other questions? Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. President, can we go back to the fourth order of business, please, under new business?
Shelter workshop?
No,
Contract?
under new business. In our packet here, when we talk about the approval of Grant and Tomlinson merger, there's a second part to this other than the public hearing, and that is our contract with Goshen Engineers. Goshen Engineers is doing a preliminary engineering report for the Route 2 water project, and this agreement here explains. I think I provided you all with a copy of that. This is the plans of the water supply from Route 2 down to down Route 208, west on 208 to Route 2. And the agreement that we have before us is from Goshen Engineering to do the preliminary engineering study. And this is really a continuation of the update of the 2000 countywide water facility plan. This this agreement that we have before us, there is a cost associated with it. I know the cost, I just want to make sure. Total cost of this project for the studies is $58,000. It would be paid over a period of 3 equal payments of $14,000 and a final payment of $16,000. This also, I'm going to move that we approve this here at the commission today in order for this to be filed and they can proceed with this contract through the Infrastructure Council. I think you got a copy of it too, Mike.
Yeah, I've had a, yeah, you gave me a copy the other day,
Yeah.
taking a look at it.
Yeah, I think it just got left off.
Yeah.
When Paige did it.
So, were any questions or anything like that?
Well, yeah, my question was this included in item 2? Or was inadvertently left off?
Left off.
Apparently it was inadvertently left off.
Okay. So we can go ahead and,
Well, was it, I
you
would-
yelled at me last time.
Yeah, I did.
Just wanted to make sure.
is it part of the, was it included as part of the original packet? So maybe I don't have the, maybe I don't, do I, technically if it's not part of your packet, it's not noticed, it should be part of the regular packet so for proper notice.
It was part of the packet that was put in for the preparation of the agenda. It's of the utmost importance that if this commission is going to approve it, it needs to be approved today,
Okay.
so that it can meet the deadlines. Goshen's deadline.
And this isn't a new item.
This isn't.
This is a backdoor politics.
This Route
No,
2
I
water
understand.
project that I'm talking about. As a matter of fact, Steve, you asked me about this about a month ago. Have we approved it yet? And we had not approved it yet because we had not had a copy of it to review. We got the copy, and this was just a.
This is related to the order that you've already voted on. I know that's part of the merger.
Part of the merger. This is the funding for the project.
Okay.
Through that merger.
Through that merger.
Yes.
Okay.
It opens up thousands of acres in the northern part of Hancock County.
Okay. Given the fact that you had the order, and this is simply like a, I would say like an addendum to the order, so to speak, and it's related to that, I would just simply make a motion to go back to that particular item. And if that passes, and I would say probably, simply adding that perhaps to the, because you're going backwards. I would just make a motion to make sure that the commission's in agreement to move backwards to the new business, and then after that, voting on the document, the contract, or the agreement.
Mr. President, I move that we go back to the. My first comment was to go back to the
Item 2.
fourth order of business, which is under new business.
So that really wasn't a motion, so there is no motion on the
Right.
table. Okay,
Right.
so you just need a motion to go back to that.
Mr. President, I move that we go back to the fourth order of business under number 2, approval of the Grant and Tomlinson merger.
There's a motion on the floor. Further discussion. Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 3-0.
Mr. President, at this time, under item number 2, approval of the Grant Tomlinson PSD merger, I would like to include in that an amendment which includes the contract between Goshen Engineers and the Hancock County Commission, which would allow the water extension to Route 2.
And the motion is on the floor. Again, further discussion. With none, I'd like to call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
And if I may just comment, the
3-0.
if I may comment, the order that was previously voted on references the enlargement of the waterworks service. And I think this is all tied together, so that's why I don't have an issue with, that's why I won't be yelling at you.
Moving on, miscellaneous, exoneration orders.
Move to approve as presented.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. General county bills. Karen.
$42,549.85. The P card payment was $81,464.58.
I move to pay the bills.
I have a motion to discussion about it. No discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Animal shelter levy fund bills and requisitions.
They're okay to pay.
Move to approve.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Fire allocation bills.
They're okay to pay.
Move to approve.
Discussion. Questions? Vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Library levy.
We received requisitions from all, and they're okay to pay.
Move to approve.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Shelter workshop levy fund bills and requisitions.
We had one requisition, and it's okay to pay.
Move to approve.
Questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Comment section. Karen.
Nothing today.
Lucas.
Nothing today.
Chair.
I have nothing for you today.
I can't even see without my glasses on. 911's here. And he's hiding.
I just wanted to thank you for hiring Becky. With Lynn being off sick, as you well know, it's really putting a bind on how we're operating, so having her there will be a real asset. And also, I want to commend Jeremy on the FEMA drill. He had a lot of pressure put upon him, and he did outstanding. So I just think that he deserves to be recognized for that. That's something that is big for the county with its partnership with the power plant. So congratulations.
OEM?
I don't have anything. Just thanks to Tracy. That was caught me off guard.
Election office?
In May, West Virginia became the 17th member in the Electronic Registration Information Center. It's short for ERIC. And basically, what their mission is, it's helping to assist states to improve the accuracy and efficiency of their registration system. What they do is it provides data for us, matching services to the member states, and it helps us identify inaccurate and out-of-date voters' registration records, but it also shows us who is eligible and not registered to vote.
Robert?
Just keeping with what Tracy brought up, even though Jeremy did this, Jeremy, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe there are 283 steps that were graded on in the FEMA drill, and we were given a warning or a write-up on one step out of 283.
About that position.
So planning issues, nothing in the actual drill was, we were graded down.
Anything else?
That's
Our county clerk's not here today. Would you like to say something? Would you like to take his place? Nothing to report. Everything's smooth. Good. Commissioners? Me first. What you want to pass to Mr. Perea?
One thing I didn't get to say when we approved a contract with the Hancock County Shelter Workshops for carpet and I believe rugs and some other things. actually, this was brought forth from Mr. Davis a while back. It's nice to be able to keep it local and stay within the county of that we live in, and have it serviced by people that actually can do it within the county. I just wanted to make a note of that. The other thing, you may all well know there's been some discrepancies going on in the county over this animal shelter, and it's either fiction or facts. It's the bottom line. So I guess it'd be proper to comment on the past couple of weeks concerning this animal shelter. When you don't know all the facts, it's very simple to throw stones. Unfortunately, some irreparable damage can be done if one just simply goes along with a newspaper article that fails to include all the facts. Had the particular line read, "shall be sold or humanely destroyed," as it is written in the state code, the public might have realized that they have two options versus just one in the euthanization. And this is where all the problems come, because everybody thinks we're going to kill dogs after 5 days. There's no such truth to that. Been doing the same thing for the last 19 years under this contract. The code was in that contract. Okay? We do a tremendous job of adopting out, selling, or getting these animals to rescues. So the other main problem was the foundation board member given the interview was quite familiar with the code, because the whole statute under animal shelter is included in the agreement. And it's been in there for 19 years. He knows this section leaves plenty of room to sell, adopt, or rescue out the animals, like I said. As far as I'm concerned, this commission was thrown under the bus. Unfortunately for us, there was an overwhelming amount of calls that came in voicing their angry concern about euthanizing after 5 days. The fortunate side is we returned the majority of those calls. And when you call these people and you explain to them the way it should have been wrote, the way it is wrote in code, they seem to understand there really wasn't a major problem. Okay? Now, there's one or two that are going to disagree with us, and I've had those phone calls. But for the most part, the people know that what goes on in that animal shelter is for the best of the animals. I've been here 17 months, and I only know of 2 euthanizations that took place. One because a vicious dog attacked a family and had to be put down. And I believe one was a result of a car accident that was badly injured. And if there's any more, we don't know about them. I don't believe there's any, those are a matter of record. So it's amazing that once the facts are presented over fiction, the understanding is better for the public. So I'm a little bit disappointed in what went on between the association, the foundation, and the article that was written in the newspaper. And we're going to move on from it, and we're going to make that shelter work the way it's been working. So I just wanted to clear that up. That's my opinion. And if there's anything else, co-commissioners can add on to it.
I read the paper 2 weeks ago today, and I thought to myself, wow. And I soon found out there were angry citizens on the article that was put in the paper. Now, how it was actually reported to the paper, or how the paper reported it, that's to be seen. But when I realized that some people were upset, and then I read the article myself, I was furious. There was not a person in this county as angry as I was that day, because what I read in the paper was the furthest thing from the truth. In my 17 years of serving on this county commission, not one time have I ever asked anyone at the animal shelter in charge to put down an animal. And our intentions to continue on from here is not to put down an animal. If the animal shelter chooses to put down an animal for whatever reason they'd like to, or they have to, it's not that they like to, they would have to do it. That is at their discretion. But the county commission has never micromanaged the Animal Foundation on putting down animals. And for that to be reported in the newspaper that way was very malicious, almost barbaric, in my opinion. All right, because it never told the whole story. We have a board member here with us today. She's on that board ever since I've been a commissioner. Ms. McIntyre, have I ever asked you to have an animal put down? No. And we had a contract here, and it's just state law. And the state law is very clear in the last sentence. And that means if our dog warden picks up a stray or a dog and takes it to the shelter, we, the county commission, which we do, put up notice downstairs that we have a dog for 5 days. After 5 days, we do one thing. We turn it over to the foundation. The foundation, it's their animal at that time, and they can choose to do what they want with it. But the most disheartening fact of this whole thing is there was never any sort of retract in the paper. They left the county commissioners out there to hang, allowed the public to hang the county commission. All right. To me, that was totally unacceptable. I'm ashamed that the shelter did not take action to correct this issue, which they were well aware of. But we love animals the same as the people at the foundation, the same as the community does. And in no way we will ever go about harming animals or insist that they be euthanized. In keeping that in mind, animals being the most important, this commission will see that the animals will continue to be taken care of the same way as they've always been taken care of, and not ever insist that animals to be put down. And I would like for our comments to be put in the newspaper, showing that we do care about the animals, and we have never suggested that they be euthanized. Thank you.
Can I say something on that?
No.
No.
You had your time at the beginning. I want to end a little bit on a positive note, but I want to tie in from the positive. I'm going to tie in a little negative. We had a great day in Chester this morning, 10 o'clock. We had the groundbreaking ceremony for the Rock Springs Business Park in Chester. There was 100 people there. They had dignitaries from the state and federal government was there. And we talked about the 120 years ago, the vision for that property, and now another group of people today have a vision for that property. It was just a great day for Chester, the city of Chester. It was a great day for Hancock County and a great day for West Virginia and the surrounding area. From the site, we went to the
Chester City Building.
the city building. Thank you, sir. And we had a little reception, and they had cookies and punch, and everyone was happy. And then I hear a friend from Brooke County yells, "Schwartzmeller, this guy's here to see you." It's crowded in there. So I turned around and hear a dog had snuck in the back door. A little nice, cute little beagle. So everyone laughed, ha ha ha. And I went over and I petted the dog, and he licked my hand, and everyone had a big chuckle out of it. Everyone thought it was funny. Well, I laughed and I took it in stride, but to me it wasn't funny. We had a lot of state people there, and the one guy actually says, "What's that about?" No one has been more of an advocate than myself. Trust me, you just have to trust me on that. I too was disappointed in the past 2 weeks. We have never gotten beat up, and we've gotten beat up a lot over the years on certain issues. Never like this. It was a firestorm. The only analogy I can come up with, it's like the Salem witch trials the last 2 weeks around here. There were no witches It was a perception of witches in Salem. There's no 5-day plan of killing dogs in Hancock County. It was a perception. It was an interpretation of state statute that was interpreted and wrongly. I have it here in front of me. I've read it 1,000 times. It's in the yellow. So again, it was interpreted. It was interpreted in the paper, and then the social media got a hold of it, and that's really where I'm disappointed in. Is they took that as etched in granite without calling. Some of them did, but it was every night. My wife say, "Oh, look at this Facebook," and I said, "I don't even want to look at it." We probably called back 40 people. We had a list, and we made an effort, and we'd call them back, and we get more would be on there. So I'm really disappointed in social media that those people would make the comments about us, make jokes about us, wanted to euthanize the commissioners was one of the comments. Are you kidding me? Why wouldn't you pick up the phone? And some of those ones, they wouldn't sign their names to them. So as a true advocate for the animals, all animals, I'm really highly disappointed in the last 2 weeks of some of the people in Hancock County. Enough said. The next meeting, I'd like to adjourn. The next meeting is July the 7th, 2:30. Remind you the courthouse is closed on July 4th. Have a motion?
So moved.
We're adjourned.